All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, Coach Mack, former East Carolina men's basketball coach, here to talk a little March Madness, a little bit of NASCAR. Coach Mack, how you doing?
I'm good. Good time of the year. My favorite time with March Madness and NASCAR and the Masters coming up. Even if you're a big baseball, spring training, and certainly college baseball and college softball off to a rocking good start. So, fun time of the season for me.
Yeah, ECU first conference series of the year swept Memphis this past weekend. Have you been able to keep up with any ECU baseball?
Yeah, I jump on there every now and then and see what's going on. Love keeping up with them. So many people are, so passionate about ECU baseball. It's fun to keep up with. And looks like they probably have another good baseball team, which is not a surprise. And I hope folks don't take that for granted.
Yeah, lot of fickle fans, I would say. Just a series or even a play doesn't go their way, and they're just like, "Oh, this team stinks. It's the end of ECU
Yeah.
baseball." But they'll be on the road at Duke today.
Fans
Taking
are
a look.
like that everywhere, by the way, Jared. Just
Yeah,
so you just to keep it in perspective, fan bases are like that. But they when they turn out in good numbers, that's a good sign, and they still do support the Pirates really well.
yes, sir. They do. I'm taking a look at your bracket right now. Has Clip kept you in the loop with the standings?
I don't know. No, he hadn't. I had a good first couple days. I went perfect one day. I went 28 or 29 out of the first 32, but I didn't do so well on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, you're doing great in the Pirate Radio bracket challenge. You're in the lead, tied with one of our interns, Hayden.
That's pretty good company. Hayden and
Yeah,
I going down to the final four. Come on, Hayden, let's go.
yeah, it's crazy. A little girl that knows nothing about basketball tied for the lead with a guy who led a team to the Sweet 16. That's March for you, folks. But
Exactly.
you have Florida and Houston in the finals, both narrowly getting out of the second round with Florida facing UConn, Houston against Gonzaga. What were your thoughts on how those one seeds performed this weekend?
Yeah, there were some tight games and the quick turnarounds. You kind of see who can do that in a good way, but there are inevitably going to be some games where you don't have your A game and somebody else plays really well. And there are a couple things going on right now that I take issue with. A lot of people have said Cinderella is over. We're not going to have that anymore because all 16 teams that are left are in the P4, whatever that is anymore, but they are in the power conferences dominated by the Big Ten and the SEC, just like college football playoff was. But I don't think that's true. I think this is just one of those things. There were some good first round upsets, didn't happen so much on Saturday and Sunday, but we did have a lot of close games when we have one double digit seed left, and that's Arkansas, who probably really isn't a double digit seed with their talent, but they didn't have a great year. Got off to such a bad start, 0-5 in the SEC, and then came all the way back. A really neat story if you're a Calipari or Arkansas fan. Not so much if you don't. But the other thing is going into these games. I'm looking at these 8 games, and I don't know if we're going to get a close game. Now, odds are somebody will play, a down to the wire game or an overtime game. But, on paper, I'm not sure any of these really should be close. Ole Miss, Michigan State, probably to me would be the closest game. A lot of people are saying Tennessee and Kentucky will be. I'm not sure about that. I know Kentucky, had some success during the regular season against Tennessee, but Kentucky's not playing defense great. Tennessee, of course, Rick Barnes has had his struggles in March. Only one Final Four, despite being at some really good basketball schools. But I'm a little nervous about this weekend. I think there are going to be some lopsided games coming up.
Yeah, it may not be any close games, but me and Clip were looking at Alabama and BYU yesterday.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun one. Have you seen the over/under for Alabama BYU?
No.
Do you want to take a guess at what it is? It's very high.
Well, 175.
Exact 175 and a half, right on the dot.
There you go.
Yeah, that one really is the only one that intrigues me because, like you said, Arizona Duke, like on paper, that one looks okay, but Duke's just been
Yeah.
steamrolling everybody this year. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll go with the Blue Devils there. Are you confident in your pick of Florida Houston in the national championship?
I am, and I originally chose Houston just because of Kelvin Sampson and the fact that he's come so close. And I, kind of wanted to go outside the box. Everybody was jumping on the Florida bandwagon, but yeah, I still feel pretty good about that. I like my Houston pick better now than when I made it, to be honest.
Yeah, my bracket not looking as good as yours. I had St. John's going all the way.
Oh,
I didn't
ouch.
really I didn't really pick with my head there. That was more of a heart pick, but I got still got three of the four Final Four teams alive, so I'm not out of it. Out of it.
Yeah, I've got three of the Final Four also. I took a long shot on Iowa State, and they're without one of their leading scorers. I probably should have been a little smarter than that, but I really didn't want to go chalk with all four, number one seeds. And I have done that in the past. And actually, the year that it happened, I had all four number ones, but I just had a feeling somebody was going down. I thought it might be Auburn, but I'm not positive about that anymore.
Yeah. Speaking of like a Cinderella or an underdog or a long shot, just no chalk. Do you think Arkansas has a chance to make a run? Because I was telling somebody yesterday, it's like I guess Arkansas over St. John's would be, I guess, the biggest upset of the weekend, but I, it's just the 10 seed that makes it feel that way because it is Calipari. So I don't really want to call that a big upset. But do you think they have what it takes to make a run?
No, and like we said earlier, they weren't really a 10 seed talent wise, but now I think they've had their championship game. I think their little run is over, and everybody will pat him on the back and say we did a good job, and he has done a good job. Built a whole new team and that kind of thing. But I think they had their moment the other day. I think this is it. I think this is the end of the road for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, transitioning away from the games, more just the news in college basketball. Obviously, Will Wade, the biggest hiring for NC State. But this week we saw Sean Miller leave Xavier to go to Texas, and also Ben McCullum leaving Drake to go to Iowa. Just what are your thoughts, and who of those three do you think will last longer at the school and have the most success?
Gosh, that's a good question. I think Will Wade is a great hire. He will absolutely win. They'll be contending in the ACC probably sooner than later. Texas is a great job. Nobody really has gotten over the hump and won them national championships. But Sean Miller is a solid choice. I thought he was solid, not an exciting hire, but a solid hire. McCollum has done great things. If you haven't followed him, he's from the Division II days where he was doing it with high school kids and brought those Division II kids with him to Drake. He is a really really good hire, and Iowa has been a really good basketball job too. Some interesting things. Ryan Odom at UVA is an interesting hire and has done a good job at three different places now and has the bloodlines. Still waiting to see who gets Villanova. East Carolina fans should get familiar with the new coach at USF. He's really good from Arkansas State. Hodgson is really a good hire. It's been an interesting silly season in the coaching ranks.
Yeah, I like the Ben McCullum hire. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't follow Drake religiously, but just seeing them every year around February, March, I think that'll be interesting for Big Ten basketball. But the portal opened up yesterday, and I didn't really expect this, but East Carolina keeps four players that I think were really good this season: Jay Shane Woodard, Trevion LeBeau, Reed Kaysen. Not really, putting up the big numbers, but we do keep Jordan Riley, who averaged 14 or so points this year. What do you think they need to do in the portal or just recruiting wise to improve upon their 19-win season this past season?
Yeah, the portal is just crazy, and Coach Schwartz and the guys there, Mike Perry and all of them, that they had a really good season. Maybe a little bit unexpected to get as far as they did, and I think they really built something. And now they have to take that, and it's so different. You used to have a program, and there was some continuity, and you sustain things, but now if you can hang on to a core of folks, 4 or 5 folks that understand what you want and can help bring the new people along, that's a pretty good year. If you can hang on to 4+ folks, that's a good start to whatever you got to do. And of course there's a premium out there. I was talking to, there was a really good player out of the Southern Conference, and I was talking to an ACC coach, and this young man, his starting price was 1.5 million. I don't know if these things are sustainable or realistic, but apparently a lot of people are going all in, because I know that Ryan Odom didn't take UVA without getting some promise of some substantial NIL, and Will Wade, I know for a fact, got substantial NIL at NC State, and some folks like Auburn and Kentucky and Alabama, and everybody in the SEC is going all in with the NIL, and there are going to be some significant changes on rosters due to the portal, and we'll see who comes out the best. And one thing fans still need to understand, it's one thing to have the most money or enough money, but you still have to recruit these kids. It's not like it's not a government contract where you open the bid and he just goes to the highest bidder. Although I'm sure some kids are going to the highest bidder, but you still have to recruit these people and have a relationship. And I hope we never lose that part of the college game.
Yeah, the recruiting aspect is interesting because I heard about one player in the American where it's just like, yeah, he got offered $100,000 here, but he chose to go to that school for nothing. And it's like, at least there are still some, at least, I don't know, I want to call it integrity, but at least it's like, hey, I'm going here for basketball. I'm not going here to make money. Like the
Yeah.
money will come if I develop and become good. So it's nice to hear stories like that, but the amount of money these kids get, like Carson Beck in college football is getting what, $8 million a year to play at Miami.
Yeah, it's
That's
it's
crazy.
amazing. When you got Steph Curry going, helping out at Davidson with 8 figures. You got to think they might be able to be a player in the A10 with 8 figures to spend on players, and that's just a small North Carolina private school. So, yeah, it's going to really be interesting to see who can sustain this going forward.
Yeah, let's transition into NASCAR. A pretty Clip's just been dominating this thing, but it was a good weekend for me. I had the winner with Kyle Larson, and I had the best average, so I'm back in the
Wow.
positives. But I still only have 2 points, 15 behind Clip. Uh, Ryan Blaney has been not doing great for your squad. Talk about what do you think is going wrong there? Obviously the motor issues, but what has happened to Ryan Blaney these first few weeks?
Yeah, and of course we've had a weird set of circumstances. You got two kind of restrictor plate tracks, and then you've got the Coda, the road
Yeah.
course, Roval, whatever you want to call it, and then we had a few normal races. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be representing Pirate Radio along with Brian Meadle at Martinsville this weekend, so maybe we get Blaney on the right track. Of course, Blaney was dominating the race at Homestead until the motor blew. So yeah, I don't. It's a long season, although we're getting about 25% of the way through the regular season. So my guys better step it up pretty good. It would be really embarrassing to you and me if Clip won this thing.
Yeah, every Monday it's just been Clip Brock Enterprises is dominating. I'm gonna teach you all about some auto race, and it's like, geez, man. But yeah, Martinsville this weekend. I was thinking about going because ECU baseball's in Houston, and this is my first weekend off since the season started. But just with the first weekend off, I kind of want to rest. But Martinsville is a very attractive track to go to for fans.
Yeah.
Who do you think wins this weekend? Like, what would be a good bet to place?
I don't know. I kind of need one of my guys to win, man. I don't even know who I have anymore. I'm in so many different leagues, but Denny Hamlin's always good there. Chase Elliott runs good there. But I think Byron and Blaney and Bell, they run good everywhere. But Blaney hadn't been able to finish the deal. But I need to cut into this lead. We need to bring Clip back to earth a little bit.
Yeah, he has Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch not been doing well this season, but he always
Yeah.
finds a way to finish the race. So Clip never has any negative points on the week. But yeah, got to find a way to chip away at Clip's lead. Uh, Coach Mack, what do you got going on this week? I know you're done calling basketball games, and you said you're going to Martinsville. Anything else going on in your life?
No, I was still calling games. I had Thursday and Sunday last week in the WBIT, and unfortunately for me, unfortunately for Virginia Tech women, they got beat on Sunday. So I was supposed to have one more game before they were supposedly going to the Final Four. They were the number one overall seed in the WBIT, but no, I'll finally have a chance because I was prepping all last week. I'll finally have a chance to sit down and actually watch some games from beginning to end. And this will be my first real green flag to checker flag race this Sunday, and I'll be doing that in person, like I said, with another Pirate Radio contributor, Brian Meador.
Sounds good, man. Well, hopefully next week Clip will be back, and y'all can get back to having your great conversations. But I appreciate you having a conversation with me, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, the ratings for this may be so good, Clip may not be able to get back in. Good job.
Thank you, Mac. We'll see you.
Thanks, Jared.